I wish to greet you all as our stakeholders. We think it is important that we continue to converse with you on various issues, and we wish to thank you for the partnership you've given SAMSA on various maritime issues that we need to continue to talk about. You would by now be aware that there is an initiative at International Maritime Organization where there is a revised list of countries that will be included on the white list. You would also be aware that South Africa is not amongst those countries. South Africa is not amongst those countries because all the countries that did not make it are required to have given a report to IMO on how those countries are giving effect to the STCW Convention as amended. Now, the history to this situation is that in 2010, we had a conference in Manila subsequent to us finalizing the amendments to the STCW Convention. And that latest amendment became the Manila Convention, the Manila amendments to the STCW Convention. Now, administrations were required thereafter to put together a report once they had reviewed their entire system as to how they were giving effect to the new amendments and the STCW Convention in general. We submitted a report as early as 2013. IMO did not accept the report, and it was not immediately clear. They said that there is information missing. We submitted another report later on in that year, into 2014. Now they came back saying the issues that were not to their satisfaction related to the recognition of prior learning clauses that we had put on the regulations. Now, we had put those clauses, which were obviously not part of the STCW amendments, but we put them in order to solve a country problem. And the country problem we were wanting to solve is that we have the international regime, which is the STCW, and we also have our local regime, which is made up of three distinct systems. The one is the fishing system, which has its own regime. The second one is the port operations system, which has its own regime. And the third one is the navy system, which has its own regime as well. Now, each one of those three does not allow you to migrate to the international system, such that if you are trained as a fisherman, it is not possible for you to jump from being a fisherman to now start to be employed on as a navigator on a seagoing convention vessel. Now, you would be aware that as a fishing boat captain, a skipper, you navigate up to 500 miles out, interacting in the course of that navigation with international traffic. We learn the same rule of the road, learn the same rule on watch keeping. So to us, it made sense that we find a way of linking the two, and that you did not need to start from scratch to jump over. That would solve a lot of our employment problems. IMO did not think like that because we were going over and above what is included in the convention. We appreciate that we need to retrieve ourselves. That was the first part. The secondary part that they were not happy with is our quality management system. Now, the quality management system that we used spoke to how you shall accredit a training institution, how you shall accredit the training itself. But they wanted us to go to a greater detail on even detailing out what is the cost content, what is required in terms of competence, how it shall be measured, a detail that was never necessary. And it's quite a big amount of work. So we got back, and the third part was that we required an independent evaluation. So we did all this work, we completed it in 2016, made our submission. We chose to argue our case in the case where the regulations are concerned, and said it can't be that we don't take into account RPL. After all countries in the world will have the same difficulties. So they came and rejected it again. And with regards to the QMS and the third-party evaluation, there still are gaps that they found. So we're finding ourselves in 2019 having put together a project that we thought gives us enough time. Some of you from the industry would be aware that we roped you into the project. Society of Master Mariners, for instance, they gave us a resource. The Saimena people, Naval Architects and Marine Engineers Association, they gave us a resource, and we're working through the system that we have established, the syllabus committee, which has all the training institutions that sit there. We thought that we were going to be thorough around this exercise. We gave ourselves enough time. There's a point at which you must resubmit the regulations, and that has its own process. So we were going to have completed this project by March of 2020, and that would be well in time for what we thought was our next audit in 2022. Now, this initiative by IMO requires us to do things differently. We have then decided that we will enlist services of our external, of the consultants that IMO used to do the audit in the first instance, so that instead of putting up our case, we comply and then find a way of arguing our case afterwards. And secondly, with regards to our quality management system, they seemed to think that we're going to too much detail in some areas and not as much detail in others. So it had been our view that let's just go to town, detail out all our processes. But it does seem though we can do with prioritizing, but we know we need to know exactly which areas to prioritize. And we thought that those consultants would assist us. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to state again that we know exactly what we need to do. We have the capability within SAMSA. What we need assistance with is the ability to target the work that must go in. So they're not going to come do the work, but they'll tell us where to concentrate so that we can quickly put together a response to this system. So that will be our recovery plan. My idea is that I reach to each and every one of our stakeholders, that will pick up a phone call to those that are affected, our ship owners, our main associations, Master Mariners, our training institutions, our engineering associations, that we will call each one of those stakeholders such that we tell them exactly what response plan we have, and what the timelines are going to be. So in the next few days, in fact in the next day or two, that is what we're going to be doing. We've secured a meeting with the ministry, and this is the plan that we will put in front of them, so that at least our response plan is well understood. With regards to the implications, obviously, if the West realizes to get kicked out of the whitelist, there is no way of mincing our words. It will be a very big problem. I somehow do not think it will end up there, because as I'm saying, we will be ready by the time the committees that need to make those decisions, particularly if those committees sit after July. I have no doubt that we shall have corrected our system, because 80% of the work in any event has been done, and the other 20% is the work that we had given ourselves until next March to finish. We've freed up resources so that we can concentrate on this problem, and then we can, instead of doing it as part of the work, we're doing it as the only work, so that we attach the urgency that I think we need to. The reason you're communicating with yourselves is that you are not left out of the system, that you do not know what is happening. It is my view that we acknowledge that we are sitting with a problem, so the problem is in the manner that we're describing to you. The recovery plan is in the manner that we're describing to you, and I wish to invite you, in case there's any input you may want to make, that you write directly to me via the contacts on the website, or directly to my inbox, sdelai@samsa.org.za. And it is my hope that you find our explanation, although we should never have had to explain ourselves, and we take full responsibility of that. We hope that you find the explanation, however, to provide some comfort. And we are going to come back to you on a very regular basis, so that as the situation develops, you are aware, and then we are all able to plan appropriately. Thank you very much.